Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Gekko on PRO. Today is day 102 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Gekko is a pretty good agent in general. Most of the times you haven't really seen him played that much in the recent games, but I don't know why actually. He has been played a lot when he came out first, but recently I haven't seen that many Gekko players anymore. Even though Gekko is still a pretty good character, especially to take certain spaces, his ability to pick up his flashes again and be pretty quickly with them as well. And in general, he has an infinite amount of util almost, with just his wingman and his flash, and he's able to clear out almost any spot with them. And also his ult is probably one of the strongest ults in the game, because you can get information off of it, you can also detain people, and you can also use it twice, not like any other ult in the game. Before we get into the video, I'm gonna show you my Nightmarket as well. Seems like my Nightmarket could be better. Starting off with the blue, we get Rush Ares, I don't like that skin. Then all of the greens. I don't mind the Horizon skins. It's not like I'm gonna buy them, but like they don't look too bad, at least in my opinion. Then let's see if we get lucky on our purple skins. Actually decent skins. I don't really need the Frenzy skin. I also don't really need the Bulldog skin, but if I like see them on the ground, I will pick them up, so they are not too bad. Starting off with A-side defense. On A-side defense, you have two options to get information over main. Firstly, more of in a passive way, by standing right here at the spawn barrier, walking up and throwing your flash straight up. If your flash detects something, you can get the information of somebody in main. You can then pick up your flash again. Even if you think, yeah, they're rushing you, can just throw a march right there to stop them from pushing. Or the other option is to aggressively flash, like this. You flash the people that are in main, your DC lands are about right here, and then you can pick it up again after you have your teammates clear out this space right here. And if there's nobody right here, you can just go close here, check the angles, go back to the DC, and then reclaim it. This is pretty good to get the main ult orb, and it's also pretty good if you have, for example, a Phoenix on your team or a Euro, because the Phoenix or the Euro can then just flash around this corner again, and the people in main are going to be full flash and going to have a hard time getting in towards a main. And you get the information over A main. If they are not here, they're probably gonna go through mid or B, which is a pretty good information thing you can have. Then other things you can also do is to use flashes from backside, like these. These tend to get destroyed pretty easily, but in general they can also be used. Or a flash like this one. This one is actually a pretty good flash where you get all the way in the corner and then flash out, because your flash is protected for a really long amount of time, and then it also drops into a pretty safe position, so you flash anyone that is on site, and your teammates that are, for example, playing in art or backside can easily profit off of these flashes, and you also can get some information off of it. So for example, if you see the DC shooting its flash right here, you can then just start spraying this area and do a lot of damage to the enemies, which is a pretty decent thing you can do. Other than that, you can also use Gekko's molly to deny the angle right here in close. It is a pretty decent molly. Sometimes it bounces pretty weirdly, but as long as you get it to land somewhere right here, you can clear out this area pretty well. Or you can also use it to stop the enemies from coming in. Another really good tool is also the wingman. You can send the wingman in from one side, throw a flash, and then peek. So the enemies have to shoot either wingman, the flash, or you. And most of the times they're gonna shoot either the wingman or the flash first, and then you can peek off of the contact of them and get a free kill. You can also use your march for plant denial, so if the enemies are planting, you can throw them like this, or like this. It doesn't really matter, as long as it lands at around right here, it's a pretty good molly, and it will get the enemies off of the diffuse. For the ult, I recommend you either go use it from all the way back here, clear close, maybe even clear back here if you don't have the control over that. You can then even pick it up again by going back here, picking up the thrash. Then you can go for another re-clear. Again, if you are in the thrash, you can pop his like his blast radius closer by just double clicking, and it's in general a pretty good thing you can do. Other than that, you can also play in art and play inside of the smoke. It is a pretty good thing. Usually there's going to be a smoke right here. It is kind of risky if the enemies are also coming through art, but then again, as soon as you think the enemies are coming in, you can throw a DC like this, peek out, or even peek out close here. Throw mollies to stop the enemies, throw a wingman to stop the enemies. In general, there's a million different things you can do, especially combining a wingman with a flash is a pretty good thing, or using the information you get off the wingman or the flash to throw a molly is also a pretty good thing. Switching over towards art now. On art, you can also flash for a main by flashing like this. This flash is one you most likely are not going to be able to recollect, so it is kind of a waste. You can also get the same information by just throwing the flash straight up. This flash will flash anyone in main if you throw it right away in the beginning of the round. You have to just worry that it doesn't land on top of these boxes, because then you can't reclaim it. And otherwise also make sure it doesn't fly too far in towards mid, because then it gets really hard for you to reclaim it as well, because the people from mid can push up and try to go for a kill. Other than that, playing close here, if they're splitting mid, you can usually get into the smoke right here, throw your wingman, throw your flash together. Or you can just use a molly to stop them from coming in. Both options are pretty good ones. In general, I recommend going for the wingman and flash combo, but if you don't have both of them, using a molly to stop them from coming in is also pretty effective. Same thing can also be done on mid. You can just throw a molly close here. It is a pretty good molly, it will stop them from coming in. You can also throw a flash over mid, or get close here and throw a flash straight up to get information over mid. Depending on what you want to do, if you want to flash the enemies and go for a fight, I recommend you throw it over towards mid. And if you want to just get the information over mid, you can use it like this. The information one is kind of a risky one as well, because after you have flashed and you're picking it up, the enemies can just run up here close to the door. So just make sure you can kill the enemies as well. You can also just fake the flash tap, so you can like make noise. And it's going to be pretty hard for the enemies to like think, yeah, you are taking up the flash, you're not going to be able to shoot them, and then you're just here waiting for them to walk in and you can collect some free kills. Another thing you can also do, again, is use wingman and the flash together. Either like this, or like this with the flash. Doesn't really matter, both are pretty good options. And in general, using your flash in combination with a wingman, especially on the narrow angles like here in street, is a pretty good thing. Switching over to its B now, you can get a lot of B information by just throwing a flash right here close. This will flash anyone that is on long, but it is also kind of a risky spot because the people from mid can see you pretty easily. So you get information like that, but it is also not like the safest spot where you can throw a flash from. And then again, you can stop the enemies from coming in like this with a mosh. Or if you want to play aggressive with your duelist, you can run all the way up and then throw a flash like this. Or even walk a little further to make it really hard for the enemies to peek out, and you can fight the B main space also pretty easily with a Gekko. You can also use the mosh, by the way, to fight main space by just throwing it right here. It will most likely cover all of the main space, and it will make it impossible for the enemies to push through. If they are still pushing, they're gonna die to the molly, which is a pretty good thing. And you can also play close here and flash out like this. This flash is a pretty easy to shoot flash, but it works sometimes. You only gotta have to think, yeah, you are not in the really safe spot right here. You're not gonna be able to get away. So if you have a teammate that is with you, this flash might be worth it, but most of the times you're just stuck in this position afterward. You don't really have a way to get out. Other than that, you can also play for retake on B by just waiting in heaven, trying to go for a spam on the person that is trying to go for a plant. For example, if they are planting close here, you can just throw a molly at around this area, which makes it impossible for them to plant. Or even if they plant, they're probably gonna die to the mosh pit. Same thing also on the other side. Or you can just spray through these boxes, even from CT or from heaven. Just spray it around the area where you hear somebody is planting, and then collect your free kills. For the retake, I recommend a flash like this, or a flash straight towards back halls if you're coming from under, because a flash like this can be reused. You can then take this space, check if somebody's close here, pick up your flash again, and then wait for the next flash that you have, or you can just fight the enemies, try to collect some more space, send wingman on the spike, and pressure the enemies, and then you can go for another flash if you have it ready again. You can also use wingman, by the way, to clear out back halls. It is a pretty good thing you can do with wingman. You just don't have him for the defuse then right away. But by using him like this, it's gonna clear out almost all of back halls, and it's gonna be a easy time for you to reclaim wingman as well. For an ult, I recommend you either go in towards heaven from at around right here, and then check out back halls, and check close here, and then don't forget to pop him when you haven't seen anyone. Just pop him to get more information. And a ult like this is most of the time pretty effective. Or if you don't have link control, you can also use a ult like this. Check close here, check close here. If you don't see anyone, you can just come back, reclaim him right here, and then go back towards site. Even maybe use a second ult from here in link. clear out either long or back halls. I'm just gonna say, if you clear on longs, it's more likely that your Thrash gets shot, and it's gonna be a harder time for you to ult. Switching over towards attack now. On attack, you can use a flash in the beginning of the round like this to get anyone in main out of main. Your Dizzy will land here in main though, so you have to kind of worry about that. It isn't really that safe of a spot to pick him up again, but most of the times it is pretty much fine. And you can also use a flash like this one. Just make sure it doesn't land on top of the area right here, because then you can't pick it up again. So I recommend either flashing higher or lower to be able to pick up the flash again. After that, you can go towards main and flash either like this over the side, which makes it pretty hard for them to destroy it, or flash like this. These two flashes are pretty good, both of them. This one is the better one, so the one that you throw over is gonna land on the default land spot and you can pick it up pretty safely again. This one is kind of a risky one, but it will also do the job most of the times. And then you can use your molly either towards backside to get those people out, if you know somebody's backside, and just hold them on the sides, or you can also use it towards dugout by throwing it at around this lamp right here. It doesn't really fully cover dugout, but it also stops the enemies in dugout from getting out, so it is a pretty good molly. Or you can also throw it through this window, but the one through the window is a pretty hard one. Sometimes it bounces over towards this side, and it doesn't really fully land the right way. And then you can just set wingman planting and play post plant with your util, maybe even play on side, play maybe aggressively towards art, and use your stuff like this. Or you can play in main with your molly. Just wait for the enemies to tap, throw your molly. You can also throw it like this. It is not too precise, but it will land at around the right spot. Sometimes it will land backside, sometimes it will land frontside. So I recommend just jiggle peeking and throw your molly like this. It will usually do the job. Or you can, if you want to have lineups, you can use the same lineups as you would on a KO or a Killjoy. They will land at the same spot and will also do a lot of damage to the people that are trying to go for the defuse. Switching over towards mid now. On mid, you actually have something you can do from a main. You can flash art for your team by flashing through here. You are most likely not going to be able to pick up your flash again, but if your team wants to take the art space, you can flash for them like this. Or you can also go with them, flash like this. And then you will be able to pick up your flash again. But the other flash is just a better flash because it also flashes the people that are playing behind these boxes and playing a little more deep, so it is a better flash. Other than that, you can also use wingman to clear out behind the boxes like this. A lot of people don't use wingman that way, but it is a pretty good thing you can do on the wingman. And he will also run back a little, so you will be able to pick up the wingman again. Or you can just, when you have your flash again, throw it towards the side like this. Throw a molly in towards the link area right here. And then even pick up your flash again, send your wingman for the plant, and you should be fine. Switching over towards double doors now. On double doors, you can flash over here on top. I recommend you even throw it a little higher, because then it won't land on the roof. Sometimes it still does, but if you throw it a little further behind, it won't do that. And it's also pretty hard for dodge, especially for the people that are playing close here, because they're going to hear the flash, they're going to be ready to shoot up here. They're not going to be ready to shoot all the way on top, so it is going to be a pretty hard time for them to get away from your flash. And you can also use your wingman again to clear this out, to clear out close corners. Use a molly, for example, here to stop the people from pushing out. You can also use the molly here to clear out this corner, or even throw it a little closer to make sure you clear out all of the corner. Pick up your wingman again, pick up your flash again, and then you're going to be able to peek either towards side or towards link. If you go towards link, you can again use a flash like this, or use wingman like this to clear out the area. It makes it pretty easy for you to clear out this area, and it's going to be pretty easy for you to take the area with your team if you are sending in your wingman or your flash first, so they can just trade off of their information. If you want to go over towards B, you can use a flash over the side right here, and you can also use a wingman to clear out certain areas, or you can send him for a plant. Switching over towards long. On long, I recommend you go for an early flash here right away to get the people out of long. You just have to kind of worry about where your flash lands, because you want to pick it up again. But most of the times, if you have your whole team coming with you, that shouldn't be really a problem. If you think somebody is close here, you can use a molly to clear out this area as well. Just hold them, wait for them to go out, die to the molly. Or if you know somebody is close here as well, you can just throw a molly, hold them, wait for them to get out, and get a free kill on them. In general, there's a lot of things you can do with the molly. Other things you can also do once you get close here, you can throw out a flash like this towards backside. Make sure it doesn't land on top of the box. You can also throw it towards back halls. The one in back halls is easy to pick up. And you can also throw mollies close here to clear out this area. Your molly is a pretty big one. If you have a perfect lineup that lands right here in the middle, you're gonna get all of the spots, but most of the times you don't even really need that. You can just throw it at around this area and it will clear it out pretty easily. And then you can go send wingman for a plant. One thing I do recommend is that you have your teammates and stuff go in first, and then you send in your wingman to go for a plant, because most of the times if your teammates are already inside, the enemies are gonna have a harder time shooting the wingman, and in general it's gonna be a easy plant for your team. Gekko's ult on attack is a pretty strong tool to clear out certain areas. For example, if you want to split art through, if you want to split A through art, you can use your first go of the ult to clear out the art area, maybe even connector, and then your second go to clear out the site. So I recommend you go mid to clear out the site, and then pick up your ult again, and then use it to clear out the rest of the space. Or you can also use it in the mains to clear out the main area and then clear out the site again. Or you can use it to clear out the site and then use it for the enemies when they are going for the defuse. The same thing can also be done here on mid. You can clear out the art and connector part, and in general it is a pretty good ult to use to clear out certain spaces and take more space later once your ult is recharged. Bonus segment! And now over to our bonus segment. Our bonus segment this time is going to be plants again. The best plant spots on Pearl. There's a lot of different plant spots. There's default right here. This spot right here is a pretty safe spot. It can't be spammed from people in art. It can be spammed through this wall right here, but in general going for a plant right here is a pretty safe thing. And then another plant you can also go for, it is, in my opinion, probably the best one. It is this open plant right here at this boxes, because it is open towards art, it is open towards main, and you can also spam through this wall to get the people off with the spike. And you can also one way on top here to make it harder for the enemies to go for the defuse. Other than that, I've seen people plant in this corner right here. It isn't a bad planting spot, but you can't really plant, you can't really play from main from this spot right here, unless you have like a million lineups. So if you are planting right here, I recommend you either play art or somewhere else towards site, and don't really play in main, because if you play in main, the enemies can just go for a stick pretty easily, and you can't really do anything unless you have like a molly or something like that. And then one last planting spot, it is backside. A backside plant is not the best one, but it's also not really that bad. You can play in main with a plant from backside, so somewhere around here at this wall. But you then need to have a lot of people playing either in dugouts and playing towards CT and holding that area. So you need to worry about these spaces to be able to play off the backside plant. And in general, planting back here is most of the times not really that common. You can do it if you are going through mid, right here, and then going through spawn and taking the space from behind. Going for a backside plant is not too bad, because you can again get the plant in pretty easily, but you need to also play in this area as well. You can't go main. And now switching over towards B. In my opinion, still the best plant spot is behind these boxes right here on long. It is a pretty decent plant spot. It can be spammed from CT, it can be spammed from long, it can be spammed from heaven, can be spammed from link, can also be peeked from backside pretty easily, so you can play in this corner, or even play close here. Spam the people that are trying to go for the defuse, which also makes it a pretty risky plant to go for. But with a wingman, you can just go for that plant, try to get the plant in, and then play from wherever position you want. Then other really decent plants are in general just plants along this line. Don't plant all the way close here, because that allows it for the enemies to play close here in this corner and go for a defuse. But in general, anywhere on this line is a pretty good plant spot, because it is pretty open and it's going to be pretty hard for the enemies to get away. But you have to remember that since the enemies, if the enemies still have smokes, you can't really ping the spike anymore to spam precisely. So you need to have some mollies either to get them off, or you need to know exactly where you planted to be able to get the spam off of the spike pretty easily. Another decent spot where you can plant is right here on this pillar. It is a pretty safe plant, especially if you're coming from Link, because it is kind of safe from heaven. It's also kind of safe from CT. You can still get spammed through this wall, but in general, this plant here is not the worst. But you have to keep in mind, if you plant right there, that you can't really play on long. Because if you have a plant right there, the farthest away you can be is right here. So you have a lot of angles still where the enemies can hold you from. For example, CT, here in halls, here in heaven. there's a lot of different spots where the enemies can hold you from, so going for this plant is a good plant when you are planning to stay on the side, but if you want to go long, just go for somewhere on this left. And then the default plant spot right here, it isn't a bad plant spot, but it's also not a great one, because the enemies can diffuse here pretty easily unless you're like playing back calls. Else, there's not really much space where you can spam this spot from. You can play mollies from Heaven, from Link, from a lot of different places, but you can spam that person. So this spot right here, only plant there if you really have to, if you don't have any other choice, and if you need to get in a safe plant. So for example, you only have like 10 seconds left, go plant right there. It is a pretty safe plant. The only way they can get you off of it is by either swinging you or going for a molly. If I had to give Gekko a rating from S to F, I'd actually give him the A tier. He is a pretty good initiator, he has flashes, his ability to go for a plant and then defuse pretty safely is a pretty good thing, but in general he has some spots where he is really good at, but also some spots where he's really bad at. I don't think he's the greatest agent to take long control, but his ability to pick up his flashes again and also pick up his ult again is a insanely strong one. You can use to take a lot of different spaces all over the map, and in general you only need to worry about getting your flash or your wingman stuck somewhere where you can't really pick it up again, and it is a really good tool to clear out every single part of the map pretty thoroughly. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agents on any other maps, write them down in the comments. And if you want to see anything else Valorant related, write it down there as well. Other than that, don't forget to like and sub, and come say hi to me on Twitch, where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!